Watch Dr. Drew's new show at 9 on HLN. Weeknights on HLN.
Breaking news tonight. We rarely see this kind of positive outcome. A missing teen found in Mexico has been reunited with her mother in the U.S. Now, we reported this story a couple of days ago. 15-year-old Alyssa Wheeler went missing 4 months ago. She, at the time she left, was getting addicted to meth and doing other drugs and hanging out with older guys. Last week, she Facebooked her mom from Mexico saying, "Mom, I'm alive, I'm with an older man, and I'm pregnant." And by the way, pregnant with the different older man than the one she apparently left the country with. Crazy stuff. And tonight, thank God, she has apparently safely landed in the U.S. Take a look at this brand new video. You're seeing it here for the first time. All right, obviously that turned out pretty well. Mom, hysterical, understandably so. Now, although Mom has been somewhat strangely cavalier about this whole thing, just having the child back is not going to be enough. She has to get into treatment if you want to save her and her baby. This kid has history of addiction, and that is abusive to the baby, is dangerous to the mom, dangerous to the pregnancy. Straight to my guest, Lisa Bloom, attorney and author of the book Think. She has been hiking in Nepal. Lisa, so glad to have you back. We've been sorely missed. And reporter with KERO, Chris Ornelas. Chris, a lot of holes in this story. What's the latest information that you have?
Well, this part about her coming home is really all kind of cloak and dagger. Publicly, law enforcement here isn't saying a whole lot about the situation, but for the last few days, my sources had been telling me that she may be getting closer and closer to getting home. And I'm now finding out that, in fact, what happened is Alyssa made her own way somehow to the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, and from there, the federal authorities, U.S. federal authorities, likely the FBI, flew her home here to Bakersfield. She arrived here about 11 o'clock local time last night, and of course, as you saw, was greeted by her mom, and then of course they went off to home to try to heal these wounds.
Chris, do we know anything more about these men, either the one that she allegedly left with or the one that supposedly is the baby daddy?
Well, we don't know a whole lot about them. Law enforcement is telling us that neither one has actually committed any sort of a crime. The one that she left with didn't commit a crime because she left of her own free will and went with him. The gentleman she married down in Mexico, because she's 15, that's the legal age in Mexico, and so he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, that's a perfectly legal marriage by Mexican terms. Even the pregnancy, not anything illegal there. We know that the man that she married, or she says she married, he is 23 years old, and his name is Chino. We believe he's from the Veracruz area of Mexico, but that's really about all we know at this point.
Now, Alyssa's mom said she wanted her daughter to come home so badly she was even willing to help this 23-year-old guy we've been talking about, who apparently impregnated the 15-year-old, to come with her. Chris, did she make that kind of an offer again? Is that guy likely to come up here? Do we know anything more about where this is going from here?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting. Just as soon as we heard that Alyssa might be able to make it home safely alone without that man, Chino, suddenly there was no more talk of that offer from the mom. And I haven't heard any more offers from her. I haven't heard her bring it up again about her trying to bring the man home. But of course, as you know, if they're going to be a family, if they're going to heal going forward, he probably should be in the picture on some level if he is in fact the father of this child.
Lisa, it's hard for me to believe that no laws have been broken here. I mean, first of all, a 23-year-old guy taking a 15-year-old out of the country, isn't that already a problem by itself? And by the way, a 15-year-old can't consent to much of anything, right?
Well, that's right. Now,
how could she consent to leave the country or to be taken across even state lines?
If this had all happened in the U.S., it would clearly be statutory rape. A 23-year-old having sex with a 15-year-old is statutory rape almost everywhere in the U.S., although curiously, in many states, that's cured by a marriage. I mean, isn't that odd? So that if a 23-year-old has sex with a 15-year-old, that's a crime. They get married. All of a sudden, it's a complete defense, which is a very odd thing to me. Now, this happened in Mexico. Apparently, according to Mexico law, this is not a problem. But you're right. Taking her out of the state, taking her out of the country. Did she consent? Did she not consent?
I mean, it's a 15-year-old
murky.
But how can a 15-year-old consent to being taken out of the country?
Well, she can consent to going somewhere with someone. Okay, that's not the same thing as sex. Sexually, she cannot consent to having sex with a 23-year-old.
They aren't.
But she can consent to leaving. It's not kidnapping if if it's not done by force.
But listen,
in most places.
when our kids were teenagers, we'd get them on. If we wanted to leave the country, put them on a plane.
You have to sign a note. Yeah,
yes,
although most
you'd have
of the
to have
airlines
passports.
didn't ask for that, right?
Well, I'm assuming she probably went by vehicle or something, so it wasn't that kind of thing. But the point is, there are structures in place to make sure that kids don't move because they can't consent. They're not of age.
We need more facts.